Welcome to the presentation, Wisconsin Technical College System Grants, a Primer. This module will provide an overview of WTCS grant opportunities that will allow you to understand what is available, how to apply for it, and how to manage your project if you are successful in getting one of these grants. With their combination of formula and competitive grants, WTCS grants provide a strategic means of sustaining critical services and piloting innovative programming at the college. As you can see from this slide, the WTCS office is a pass-through entity for three important funding sources. The guidelines for these funding sources are released in August or September each year. Each source follows the WTCS and college fiscal year of July 1st through June 30th. For the two federal funding sources, AEFL and Perkins, WTCS develops the guidelines and performance targets through negotiation with the U.S. Department of Education. For state grants, the WTCS office develops the guidelines in collaboration with the WTCS board. The following slides will describe each of these in greater detail and will also explain how to apply for WTCS funding. AEFL grants are distributed to each college through a formula that encompasses the number of adults in the district with less than a high school education and recent performance in increasing students' academic skill levels. AEFL funding is intended to prepare students without a high school education or with low English proficiency for post-secondary enrollment and success, and to a lesser extent to increase civic knowledge and engagement. At Madison College, the School of Academic Advancement is responsible for managing the three AEFL funded projects. Instruction is delivered on the college's campuses, but also in the jail system and at community-based organizations. This funding source is slated to change in the coming years due to the recent passage of the Workforce Investment and Opportunity Act, or WIOA. Perkins grants are distributed to each college through a formula based on the number of Pell and Bureau of Indian Affairs grant recipients in each WTCS district. Perkins funding is intended to support students at risk of not being retained and completing college due to a number of demographic and academic considerations. At Madison College, various offices within student retention and success are responsible for managing the 5 Perkins projects. However, the Strengthening CTE category invites programs struggling on course success, graduation, or retention and transfer to try novel interventions for runs of 3 to 4 years. The initial program performance data is evaluated by the Perkins Steering Committee each year as part of development of the annual Perkins Local Plan. The committee then reaches out to deans to solicit interest in participating in the grant. State grants are funded by Wisconsin General Purpose Revenue. In fact, these grants were formerly known as GPR grants. The GPR grant categories used to be enshrined in state statute. In 2014, however, the state legislature gave the WTCS office flexibility to redesign the grant categories. Some of them are therefore more open to new stakeholders and ideas than in the past. This sometimes creates competition in terms of which schools or departments are able to apply for the limited slots given to the colleges in each category. However, since some categories allow colleges to reapply for grants for a second or third year of funding, continuing projects typically do not have to make the case to apply as long as the project is going well. The following slides provide detail on the individual state grants categories. Apprentice-related instruction grants are intended to develop and maintain system-wide curricula and to support required instruction for apprentices. These grants are applied for by invitation only after consultation with the System-Wide Apprenticeship Curriculum Committee, which is convened by WTCS. At the college, these grants are managed within the apprenticeship area under the School of Applied Science, Engineering, and Technology. Career Pathways grants provide instruction and support for students engaged in defined career pathways bridges. The School of Academic Advancement is the lead on these grants, but coordinates proposals with the credit-bearing programs. The category encourages models that will help students transition to post-secondary programs and family-supporting careers more rapidly. A recent successful grant in this category helped a number of adult basic education and English language learning students transition into the college's machine tool program. Core industry grants provide funds to enhance curriculum and instruction for already approved programs in high-demand career areas. Any technical program in need of increased capacity or redesigned credentials to meet industry needs can consider applying. The category is of the few among WTCS grants that allows for significant equipment purchases. A current grant in this category is helping the School of Business and Applied Arts redesign the Agricultural Business Management program. Developing Markets grants provide funds to help launch new programs. Applying for a grant must occur in the same time frame as the WTCS new program approval process. Allowable activities include instruction, curriculum development, staff development, and purchase of relevant materials or technology. The grant will only pay for one full run of the program curriculum, so there must be a plan for sustainability. Recently, a Developing Markets grant helped ASET launch the new metal fabrication one-year technical diploma. Professional development grants provide funds for professional development activities focused on both faculty and support staff. This is the only non-competitive state grants category, and funds are distributed proportionally based on the size of staff among WTCS colleges. At the college, the Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning, or CETL, writes and implements this grant. One activity funded by this grant is the annual Tech Academy event. Student support grants provide funds to create, expand, and/or implement innovative approaches to direct student services. This category mirrors the Perkins focus on at-risk demographic categories such as minorities or students with disabilities. At the college, Student Development and Success oversees the grant and currently uses the funds to serve students not eligible under Perkins funding, especially at-risk college transfer students, but also including veterans, minorities, online learners, and students with cognitive disabilities on any program track. Workforce Advancement Training, or WAT grants, provide funds to allow WTCS colleges to provide contracted training for district employers. In most cases, instruction is provided at industry workplaces in our WTCS district. At the college, these grants are applied for and implemented by the Business and Industry Services Department under Continuing Education. An exciting recent example of a WAT project was the training the college provided to Johnsonville Sausage's workers to increase their skills during a plant shutdown after a devastating fire. Supporting Veteran Success is a one-time appropriation that the state legislature provided to WTCS to develop innovative methods of improving educational outcomes for student veterans. As such, the future of this grant category is uncertain. WTCS formerly utilized reserve funds under Perkins to fund a similar effort. At the college, this grant is administered through the Office of the Dean of Students. These funds have allowed the office to seriously upgrade services for student veterans at a time when that is a strategic priority for the college. The WTCS fiscal year is July 1st through June 30th. This is also the period of performance for the grants. WTCS releases grant guidelines for the upcoming fiscal year's proposal cycle in late summer or early fall, normally August or September. At this time, the Grants Office begins the process for soliciting ideas for new grants and begins to work on continuing applications with managers on existing projects. Be on the lookout for communication from your dean or our office about how to present your idea. Once you submit your idea and get the support of your dean or VP, the Grants Office will work with you to develop a well-considered narrative and budget. Proposals are typically due in January and February, with the AEFL, Perkins, and state deadlines staggered to reduce the stress involved with so many grants being submitted in a compressed time frame. Notifications of award are released in April, and any needed pre-award revisions are communicated by the system office at this time. After award letters arrive and July 1st comes, the Grants Office will be at the ready to help you get your project off the ground. Outcome tracking and performance reporting is a critical aspect of implementing a WTCS grant. The client reporting system, with PeopleSoft being the data entry portal, is the primary means of documenting student participation in a grant. Client reporting allows WTCS to verify student counts, but also allows for internal analysis using the Cognos system. Also, triannual performance reports are a condition of receiving a WTCS grant. Report templates are sent out by the Grants Office approximately 6 weeks before reports are due to WTCS. Getting to know your WTCS Education Director is another big part of implementing a WTCS grant. Each WTCS grant category is overseen by a program officer referred to as an Education Director. These individuals provide technical assistance on understanding the intent of the categories as well as compliance issues. Any significant revision to the scope or budget of a grant requires discussion with the responsible education director before the grants office can submit a revised proposal to WTCS. Often, in the course of implementing a grant, your plans can evolve as the project unfolds. This sometimes means changes to your project's budget, which is where the college's budget revision process comes in. If plans for spending change, contact the grants office to discuss options. Any actual changes to your budget and their justification will be documented via our budget revision form. Any budget changes that result in less than 20% change for a given budget line, for example salary and fringe, can be handled as an internal revision. However, any change that moves money between lines, such that the receiving line increases by 20%, will require that an official revision be submitted to WTCS. As mentioned above, submitting an official revision to your project budget or scope requires prior discussion with your WTCS Ed Director. Once an internal revision is finalized or we receive the award letter on a revision that needed WTCS approval, the budget revision form is shared with Grant Accounting via SharePoint. This allows them to update the work tags or chart of accounts in Workday that you use to post expenses to the grant. In the course of implementing your project, periodic check-in meetings with the grants office and Grant Accounting will help ensure you're on track and that expenses are coded to the budget correctly. WTCS grants follow a known, regularized process with a similar year-to-year flow. This means it's not too difficult to find a solution when problems arise. This has been the module Wisconsin Technical College System Grants, a primer. If you have any questions about anything you've seen in this presentation, feel free to contact the grants office.